program is the active center.
We are looking at a highly charged debate today over California's zero-emission vehicle mandates, specifically the Advanced Clean Trucks rule.
Right, and how it's basically upending the whole trucking industry.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this.
That's good.
So imagine you run a bakery, and one day the state tells you to upgrade your oven to a brand new eco model.
Right, which sounds great on paper.
Yeah, but then you look at the price tag and it is completely tripled. Oh, and the power company hasn't even installed the electrical grid for you to plug it in yet.
That is essentially what this Advanced Clean Trucks rule is doing to freight. I mean, the mandate requires an increasing percentage of new trucks sold in California to be zero emission over the next few decades.
Which is a huge shift.
It is, but the author's core argument really rests on the brutal financial reality of that shift. Because a traditional diesel Class 8 rig, you know, those massive 18-wheelers you see on the highway.
Right, the really big ones.
Yeah, those usually cost between $150,000 and $180,000.
Which is already a pretty huge capital investment for any small business owner.
Right, but the battery electric equivalent that these mandates push buyers toward, well, that runs anywhere from $400,000 to $500,000.
Wow, that is a massive jump.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how the severe cost jump collided with infrastructure reality. The source points out there simply isn't the grid capacity or the heavy-duty charging stations to support these electric fleets yet.
So you literally can't even charge the truck you just went into massive debt for.
Exactly. And because buyers couldn't afford the trucks or, reliably charge them, new Class 8 truck registrations in California actually plummeted by up to 50%.
That is just a staggering freeze in the market. But let me challenge the author's premise a bit here. I mean, are these regulations actually destroying jobs, or is the trucking industry just consolidating?
Like maybe the independent drivers just get absorbed into giant corporate fleets.
Yeah, like the fleets that can actually afford the electric rigs.
Well, the source argues it is an intentional, systematic squeeze on the independent operator, especially when you pair the truck mandates with another California law called AB 5.
Oh, right, the independent contractor law.
Yeah. AB 5 effectively reclassified many independent contractors as employees, which stripped drivers of their ability to operate as freelance owner-operators.
So they're getting hit from both sides.
Exactly. When you combine that loss of freelance status with bans on older diesel trucks at ports and the exorbitant cost of new electric rigs, I mean, independent truckers are actively being priced out of entrepreneurship.
And when independent drivers get priced out, overall freight capacity drops. I mean, since trucks deliver over 70% of all domestic freight in America, that missing capacity doesn't just happen in a vacuum.
No, it definitely ripples out to everything.
Right. It immediately translates into higher shipping costs.
Yeah.
Which means you, listening right now, you end up paying higher prices for your groceries, clothes, and just everyday goods.
And because the national supply chain is so deeply interconnected like that, California's local policies quickly became a nationwide economic issue. Historically, the EPA granted waivers under the Clean Air Act.
Right, to let California set its own rules.
Exactly, to set stricter emissions rules. And because California's market is just so massive, other states frequently copy those rules.
Which effectively allows Sacramento politicians to dictate manufacturing and freight standards for the entire country.
Right, yeah.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. The rest of the country pushed back hard.
Oh, they definitely did.
Yeah, Republicans in Congress actually invoked the Congressional Review Act, which is this legislative tool that allows Congress to overrule regulations issued by federal agencies. And they use it to try and overturn those EPA waivers.
And, it wasn't just Congress either. A 17-state lawsuit led by Nebraska, alongside major trucking associations, they actually took California to court over the mandates.
Wow. Wait, did that legal pressure actually accomplish anything?
It did, yeah. The backlash forced the California Air Resources Board to actually withdraw key enforcement provisions for their clean fleet rules heading into early 2025.
Wow. So what does this all mean? The author's ultimate conclusion is that this is a classic case of top-down government edicts colliding with free market realities.
Right. According to the essay, you can't just mandate a technological shift if the money and the infrastructure aren't there to support it.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, it exposes a massive friction point. Relying on administrative force without market readiness just damages the credibility of the whole transition.
Yeah, for sure.
And the author argues it ultimately harms the working families expected to carry the burden of those changes.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative question to chew on. If aggressive state mandates fail because they completely break the bank, but voluntary market adoption is moving way too slowly to prevent an environmental crisis, well, whose responsibility is it to actually fund and force this green transition?
That is the million-dollar question.
Right, because if society demands that everyone buy the expensive new oven, someone has to figure out how to wire the building first.
Hello, and thanks for listening. This is David Sepp and the Active Center team. For years, our mission has been to foster a community around engagement, health, and conversation. If you value what we do, please consider supporting us. We've started a GoFundMe to cover our production and operational costs, including those pesky social media fees. Your contribution, big or small, helps us keep going. Thank you.